You are having a successful 7-8 figure business and suddenly the revenue drops. And a lot of companies go bankrupt. They cannot handle that. But others use it in a way that allows them to explode the revenue right after this drop period. And in this video, I will tell you exactly what to do so that after the dip, there will be a high exponential growth. I'm Coach Glenn. I help business owners who have 7-8 figure businesses to grow their business, protect their assets, and live the life you deserve. And if you're not the first year in the business, then you know there is nothing that needs to be taken emotionally in the revenue drops. It happens to any business, literally any. And before we go in what exactly to do in this case to not just survive, but thrive after the dip, I will tell you what not to do when your revenue drops. First, don't start with cutting your marketing expenses. Second, don't start with firing your team. Third, don't blame your team if the revenue of the company drops. And as a leader, never ever let your personal emotions or stress affect your team morale. You want to discuss problems or how you feel? For that, you have therapist, business coach, your dog, but your team needs to have the faith, and you're the foundation of this faith. Fourth, don't take a loan when you have a dip in the revenue. And of course, don't give up available cash without proper reason. And now, let's talk about what to do exactly to succeed when your revenue drops. Instead of starting with cutting expenses, what most people start doing, you have to start thinking from the revenue generation perspective, and especially from the ROIs, return on your investments. Everything should become efficient in a way that when you give your team money on the project, you need to know exactly how much money you get in return and how fast, which means calculating ROIs is number one priorities when the revenue drops. Which means you take your ROI glasses, you put it on, and everything that needs to be spent, you look at it from the ROI perspective. And by the way, it's not only about the revenue generated, but also revenue accumulated. Retention should be part of your ROI calculation. By the way, it's also important to keep in mind that ROI is not just about new sales, right? It's also about all activities that keep and increase high retention rates to keep the current revenue incoming. Now, in case your revenue dropped, what to do with your team and why you cannot start firing people. Of course, if you have someone who is not performing, you should fire them any time, doesn't matter what's happening with the revenue. But when we talk about reliable people, good performers, it's much easier to keep them during some drops than to find and to train reliable people from the scratch later. At the same time, I'm not telling you to break the bank and give all your money to the team. And that's what I'm doing in my coaching with business owners. We structure the payments to the team in a way that even the revenue goes up and down, in most cases only up, but when the revenue dips for some time, we are not having high fixed costs, right? we are structuring in a way that combines the performance bonuses so that when the revenue dips, you're not having high fixed costs with the team. And that's why you also have to do it before any crisis, because when the crisis comes and you have high fixed costs, high salaries, and you tell people, sorry, I have to cut your salaries in half, guess what will happen? The morale will drop, performance will drop, and it will be much harder to get on track. And now, let's talk about cash during crisis and during revenue drops. How to handle that? So first of all, you need to have cash reserves. It's so obvious, but just few businesses actually following that. Because when the crisis comes and you are the one, your company has cash on hand, you will become the king of the jungles. You will be able to hunt and get the best team members, employees from all the competitors. You will be able to buy all the competitors for cheap if you have enough cash reserves during crisis. And then the next one, you have to stop giving away cash as much as possible when the revenue drops. Meaning, renegotiate all the deals, break the payments, find a way to reduce giving up cash. Important notice, you have to find a way to do that still have all your partners in place and all your service providers, just with less cash paid. And the last part, extremely important to still have your books in order when any crisis comes in or revenue drops. You still need to have your profit loss statement. You still need to see your balance sheet, your cash flow statement. And of course, you have to see all the expenses, but don't go and just start cutting all expenses. Look on those through the ROI glasses. Basically, whenever you see an expense, let's say you have chatting support for your clients 24/7, what if you cut this? What will happen? Your retention will drop. From the ROI perspective, cannot do that. Focus on getting the most return on every penny, dollar, euro, Bitcoin spent in your company. I have to say that I saw the biggest growth in businesses after crises and after the revenue drops. And the reason for that is in the beginning, when the company grows super fast, it's also accumulating mistakes and conflicts, wrong structures, so that it's not sustainable. So those dips are actually an opportunity to become a healthier version, right? And to remove all the shit and make the company clean and able to scale exponentially right after the crisis ends. And of course, make sure your sales are going up. Check out the sales strategy video. The link will be in the description. Have cash reserves, because crisis time is the best time for acquisition when you have cash on hand. Your Coach Glenn.